The shocking truth behind my family's reunion invite. The reunion RSVP wasn't for hugs. It was for my signature. It hit my inbox at 6:07 a.m. on a gray Thursday, sandwiched between a coupon and a patient care memo from my EMT supervisor. Subject line, "Come home, Evan." Inside, a glossy banner floated over a big blue button, "Confirm attendance." A countdown clock ticked beneath it like a quiet threat. My phone buzzed again, Lena texting hearts, confetti, and a finally. Then Victor's name lit up in the family group chat. "Good news travels fast," winking face. "I'm 30, I work nights on an ambulance, and I sleep in a one-bedroom that smells like coffee and rubbing alcohol." People grin and say hero, then ask what I plan to do after. After what? After I keep someone's mother breathing? Truth is, I like work that's real. I like numbers that balance, timelines that match, signatures that mean something. And I know exactly what I stand to lose when families weaponize paper. I tapped the invite. The RSVP portal asked for dietary needs, t-shirt size, and, buried between song requests and +1, a field labeled emergency contact/consent. A footnote said, "By submitting, you agree to family-only confidentiality for media shared at event." Family only? Confidentiality for what media? My thumb hovered over the blue button while the countdown whispered obligation. Lena called before I could think. "Evan, this is huge. We're all finally getting back together." "Who's we all?" "Everyone Victor reached," she said. "He booked the old church hall. You're free Saturday, right?" "I work Saturdays." "You can swap," she said, voice tinny with hope. "Please, just this once." Years of silence don't dissolve because someone buys a banner and meatballs. We stopped reuniting for reasons. Words that landed like glass, money that came with strings, photographs that erased people who didn't play along. Still, I heard Aunt May's old prayer in my head. Keep us honest, keep us gentle, keep us safe. I scrolled to the bottom of the email and clicked View Details. A PDF opened. Metadata. Last modified 2:13 a.m. Author V. Holtz. Permissions commenting enabled. My chest tightened like a belt being pulled. The invite was not for hugs. It was for my signature. I didn't always count timestamps and file properties. I learned. Our family album has the usual smiles, but the backs of the photos tell the truth. Evan forgot lines at pageant. Lena cried at fireworks. Victor nailed the speech. In Dad's careful handwriting, praise curved toward cousins who performed and away from kids who asked questions. Reunions were staged like pageants. Matching shirts, choreographed toasts, jokes that landed sharp and looked harmless on camera. The last big one was 7 years ago. Victor rented a ballroom and passed around mics like trophies. When it reached me, I said something small. "I'm starting EMT training." People clapped. Victor leaned in, still smiling, and said, "So you'll be the family Uber with sirens?" Laughter flashed like a bulb. Afterward, he squeezed my shoulder. "Kidding," he said, mouth close enough to feel his breath. "We need all kinds, drivers, too." A photographer caught the exact moment my smile stiffened like plaster. We didn't gather much after that. Aunt May stopped traveling at night. Mom got quiet. Lena tried to keep the threads from fraying, but chats thinned out when money stories got messy. A loan that wasn't, a gift that became a ledger line, a cousin who signed something at a barbecue and lost his truck by Christmas. I started reading the fine print like a lifeguard scanning a pool. 2 months ago, Victor texted me a link to a news article about a local paramedic who froze during a call. "This why people should go to college, man shrugging," he wrote. I typed 3 replies and deleted them all. The ambulance cab is a good place to practice silence. Still, I saved the screenshot. Fresh wounds heal crooked if you pretend they didn't happen. Now his name sat on the invite's metadata like a watermark. There was a list of activities, memory montage, family awards, legacy announcement, and a line about a brief private signing. Signings aren't brief unless someone doesn't want questions. I rubbed the bridge of my nose until stars bloomed behind my eyelids. What kind of reunion needs confidentiality and a private signing this badly? I went back to the portal and clicked Terms. A modal popped up, white text on navy like an airline waiver. Family-only media clause. By attending, you consent to limited internal distribution of images, audio, and documentation. External publication requires unanimous administrator approval. Administrator? Since when do families have administrators? A second section, event integrity, prohibited disruptions, unauthorized recordings, and unapproved signage. Reunions need casseroles and card tables, not bylaws. A banner slid down after 3 minutes. Early arrivals, please check in at 4:30 p.m. For VIP photos. Early arrivals got a gold wristband, printed Legacy. I clicked the PDF floor plan. Next to the stage was a curtained area marked Green Room. Behind it, a small rectangle red signing table. My mouse hovered. A chat bubble pinged. Victor. Heads up. Press might be there. Just neighborhood stuff. Let's look unified. Me. Press for a reunion? Victor. Trying to build a nice story for the old folks. You know how it is. Me. Who's the administrator? Victor. LOL, me for now. Somebody has to steer the ship. I scrolled further. A footer linked to a Google Drive folder titled Reunion Assets. Inside were slideshows, a playlist, and an unfinished document named confidential_family_consent_v3. Docs. The preview wouldn't load, but the description field showed the first line. I, the undersigned, acknowledge the following. My scalp tingled. Families don't ask for undersigned without a reason, and reasons usually have $signs. Lena pinged separately. He's trying, she wrote. Don't go in assuming the worst. What if the worst is assuming I won't read? I replied. Promise me you'll come, she wrote. Just be kind. Kindness is not the same thing as blindness. I copied the Drive link and pasted it into a new note, along with screenshots of the modal, the floor plan, and the gold wristbands. Evidence doesn't care how I feel. It just sits there until someone asks the right question. Why does a family reunion need an undersigned tucked behind a curtain? At noon, the group chat exploded like popcorn. Can't wait to hug everyone. Team blue shirts or red? Victor, you killed it with that banner. Love bombing has a rhythm. It keeps doubt offbeat. Victor tagged me in a meme of a cartoon ambulance. Evan's limo for the night face with tears of joy. People reacted with crying, laughing faces. I set my phone face down on the counter and let the apartment hum fill the room. Fridge compressor, upstairs neighbors, the steady metronome of my own breath. A knock rattled the door at 2:11 p.m. A courier stood in the hallway holding a flat cardboard envelope with a red stamp. Estate planning. Do not bend. Sign here, he said. I hesitated long enough for him to glance at my badge on the hook. Rough day, he asked. Just started, I said and signed. Inside, a thick paper invite on deckled edge cardstock. Same banner, same blue button printed as a QR code, and an insert titled Legacy Moment. The insert listed optional activities, DNA tree, story booth, legacy awards, and family stewardship pledge. DNA tree included an offer code for a mail-in kit at a discount. Pledge included a blank line under the words, I agree to serve the family's best interests as defined by the committee. Committee? I checked the fine print. Committee was capitalized like a courthouse. I called Aunt May. He's turned the word family into a brand asset, I said. She sighed a yes I could hear through 2 counties. Victor likes lights and titles, she said. He forgets that signatures are promises, not confetti. Why the DNA kit? Somebody wants to prove something, she said. Or hide something. Either way, proof tends to leave fingerprints. My shift started at 4. Before I left, I used the hospital computer lab to open the Drive link on a clean browser. The confidential_family_consent_v3. Docs now read V3. 1. The first paragraph mentioned limited guardianship for media and narrative elements. The second listed designated administrators. There was only one name underlined. Victor Holtz, acting steward. What exactly does limited guardianship for media and narrative elements let Victor control? By morning, my private texts turned into tiny tug-of-wars. Lena sent me seat charts like peace offerings and voice notes where the word please did most of the work. Vic is complicated, not evil, she said. He keeps things moving. I typed back. A river keeps things moving too, right up to the falls. Then I deleted it. She has always believed in the soft answer that turns away wrath. I have always believed in written agreements that survive wrath with timestamps intact. At lunch, I met Aunt May in the hospital cafeteria. She pushed a pudding toward me the way she used to slide forbidden cookies under the table. You look like you swallowed a tack, she said. Maybe I did, I said, and showed her screenshots. She read silently, her thumb widening the images, her mouth going thin at limited guardianship. Document everything, she said. If you attend like a journalist, not a grandson. And don't sign anything you haven't slept on. What if they make a scene? She shrugged. People who plan scenes count on audiences. Small, steady actions ruin their lighting. I told Lena I'd come, but only for the main program. No early VIP photos, I said. No green room. No wristband. Evan, she texted, you not wearing the wristband will make a bigger scene than wearing it. I'm not a prop, I wrote. I'm family. On break, I checked the reunion assets folder again. New files had appeared. Slide_tick_final. PPTX. Talking points _V2. And a PDF named Lega_pledge_print. PDF. The pledge included a subtle line. Signatories affirm that family administrators may curate, edit, and approve stories for the preservation of legacy. Curate, edit, approve. 3 soft verbs with sharp teeth. I scrolled the comments and saw a resolved thread from Victor. Keep the language light. People sign feel-good things faster. The pit in my stomach answered before my brain could. I printed the pledge on the unit printer and slid it into my bag with a pad and 2 pens. Some people bring cookies to reunions. I bring receipts, questions, and the quiet promise that I will use both. What happens to a story when the wrong person claims the pen? Friday evening, I stopped by the church hall on my way to shift. The custodian, a woman with forearms like braided rope, was stacking chairs. I introduced myself, flashed my badge as casually as a library card, and asked if tomorrow's event needed anything special. Photo screen, sound check, buffet tables, she said. Guy named Victor taped off that back room. Says it's 4 surprises. She handed me a trash bag bundle of shredded paper. He told me to toss these. I don't like tossing things I can read. On the stairs, I pieced together strips on my knee. Gift bags, wristbands, shirts, thank you cards, DNA kits, code applied. Consent forms for story booth, 2 copies. The shredded header showed a version number and timestamp, V4. 1:38 p.m. But the PDF Victor sent us yesterday was V4. 0, modified at 10:22 a.m. 2 versions, 2 timelines. 1 organizer who loved control more than truth. I thanked her and walked around back. A rental company guy was rolling in pipe and drape. His manifest had a line I couldn't ignore. 1/6 table, 2 pens, clipboard, legal-size envelopes, green room only. I took a photo. He shrugged when I raised an eyebrow. Weddings, funerals, reunions, it's all the same, he said. Somebody always needs a quiet place for something awkward. Out in the lot, my phone buzzed. New email. Reminder, VIP photos 4:30 p.m. Arrive early for special moment. Attached, run of show _V3. At 5:10 p.m. Just after the montage, a block read, Legacy moment. Committee update, stewardship pledge, private acknowledgements. A footnote. Please respect the dignity of elders by keeping this efficient. Efficient means don't ask questions. Dignity means don't embarrass the hosts. Both often mean sign fast. Back in the ambulance, I highlighted times with a pen and drew arrows between files. People confuse kindness with silence, but silence isn't kind when it helps a trap close. I blew out a breath and set 3 alarms. 3:30 for travel, 4:20 for this special moment, and 5:08 to start recording. What happens if this special moment becomes the moment everything breaks open? Saturday morning smelled like rain and lemon cleaner. I put on a plain shirt, packed my notebook, and drove to the strip mall where the bank shared a wall with a nail salon. The manager on weekend duty was young enough to call me sir, and old enough to know better than to answer real questions. Still, he looked at the invitation when I slid it under the glass. We do after-hours notarizations for events sometimes, he said. It can be efficient. He pronounced efficient the way a person says painless knowing it won't be. Do reunions need notarizations? I asked. He shrugged. Some families set up trusts or add signers. Emotions are high, so they want to get it done while everyone's together. Who books that? Usually the organizer. They bring pre-printed forms. Name on the booking? He couldn't say. But a slip of paper slid my way with a phone number that wasn't the main line and the words "Call Sunday" in the corner. Back in the lot, I dialed a different number. Denise, a former assistant of Victor's who owed Aunt May a favor. "Still breathing, boy?" she said, coughing a laugh. I explained the reunion and the green room. "Victor likes things tight," she said. "He keeps templates. He swaps names and dates." "Templates for what?" "For yes," she said. "Make it look friendly. Call it gratitude. Tuck the teeth in soft." "Did he ever use DNA kits?" "Once," she said. "He had an uncle take one to settle questions. It started a war, and then he edited the slideshow to make it look like peace." At the copy shop, I printed the run of show and a fresh stack of photo timestamps. The file properties across versions told a quiet story. Edits at 2:13 a.m. for 52 a.m. 9:01 a.m. Money people do their best work when everyone else is sleeping. Lines repeated. Legacy. Stewardship. Dignity. Dignity. There was that word again, like a lace doily hiding a stain. On my dashboard, I laid out times, names, and room maps until the pieces clicked like a jaw. At 5:10 p.m., they would close the curtain, smile, and slide papers across a table already warmed by pens. What happens if I pull the curtain before the pens can touch paper? By noon, my hands smelled like toner and coffee. I drove past the hall once more and saw Victor pacing the sidewalk, phone to his ear, rain beating on his perfect jacket. The custodian caught my eye through the door and lifted her chin toward the green room. I nodded and kept moving. 2 blocks over, I parked and opened my laptop. A new file had appeared in Reunion Assets, acknowledgement_form_final. PDF. Preview worked this time. It wasn't a pledge. It was a limited power of attorney for media, narrative, and reputational matters arising from the Family Legacy Project, valid for 1 year from signing. Signers consented to let administrators curate, edit, publish, and resolve disputes regarding stories, images, and related materials. A second checkbox allowed financial coordination for costs incurred by the Legacy Project, with voluntary contributions to be billed later. Voluntary words were the softest sweaters. Attached were 2 more documents: will_codicil_draft_parentum, docs, and savings_transfer_draft. I clicked open. The codicil proposed shifting a life estate on Aunt May's house to a family trust, with the acting steward empowered to manage PR regarding any disputes. The transfer draft listed Lena's initials. My chest went cold and clean like a winter window. Victor wasn't just building a slideshow. He was laying tracks to our doorsteps. I screenshotted everything and exported the POA to my phone. My mind split in two: the nephew who wanted to throw a chair, and the medic who knew that panic is a bad historian. I texted Lena, "Do not sign anything today. I'm serious." She sent back a crying emoji and then, "What's going on?" I typed, "They're using the reunion to update documents and control stories." Then I deleted it. Screenshots talk better than texts. I told her to meet me by the side entrance at 4:25. Aunt May too. Then I called Lawyer Carter's office and left a message that I needed 15 minutes of his afternoon, on speaker, at a church hall. What happens when the only way to protect family is in public? The plan needed 3 things: proof, witnesses, and light. Proof I had in screenshots, metadata, and paper. Witnesses would be Lena and Aunt May. If they saw it unfold, nobody could recut the story later without a fight. Light would be a phone on record and a laptop with a cable to the hall's projector. I'd watched enough weddings to know that HDMI beats hearsay. At 3:40 p.m., I borrowed the custodian's office for 10 minutes. She slid me a box of adapters like a deck of cards. "People forget wires," she said. "They remember cake." I connected my laptop, opened a clean slide with the words "Family Documents" for review, and embedded the POA, the codicil, and the transfer draft. I added footers with the file paths and timestamps. No commentary, just facts that would stay facts no matter who frowned. I texted Aunt May our meeting spot. She replied with a thumb and a prayer. Lena called twice. I let it buzz. The dilemma kept circling like a moth: show the evidence before the program and risk Victor moving everything off-site, or let him stage it and cut the curtain when the pens came out. I thought of patients who tell you they're fine as their fingertips go blue. Timing matters. Intervene too soon and the story denies itself. Too late, and the damage is already printed and sealed. At 4:10 p.m., Lawyer Carter called back. I put him on speaker and summarized everything. Careful with adjectives, rich with nouns. You're not their enemy, he said. You're their brake pedal. If there's a private signing, the safest thing is a very public pause. Can I record? In this state? Yes, as long as one party consents, he said. You. What about the will draft? It's just a draft until an elder signs in front of witnesses, he said. Keep it that way. I slid the adapters into my pocket, zipped the laptop, and looked at the clock above the copier, counting the minutes down like a soft hammer. I took one photo of the room as it was, plain, fluorescent, indifferent, so I could measure the moment it changed. What do I risk losing if I choose the loudest kind of honesty? By 4:20, the lobby smelled like perfume and coffee. Cousins hugged with the awkward choreography of adults who share surnames and very little else. Victor wore a blazer that matched the banner and a smile that matched absolutely nothing. Evan, he said, arms wide. Look at you, our frontline hero. Look at you, I said. Acting steward. He laughed too loudly. Silly title, he said, guiding me toward the side table where gold wristbands lay like thin crowns. Grab one, he added low. It makes access easier. No thanks, I said. I'm keeping it simple. We settled into a pre-reunion dinner at the far end of the hall. Paper plates, chafing dishes, a microphone that fed back if you breathed wrong. Victor worked the table like a politician, kneeling to make eye contact, touching wrists, laughing on exhale. We're doing something special tonight, he told a cluster of ants. A chance to honor the people who carried us through lean years. He looked at me when he said honor the way a magician looks at a pocket where the coin will appear. Aunt May found my elbow and pressed 3 peppermints into my palm as if they were talismans. Breathe with sugar, she murmured. And keep your hands visible. I'm not the one hiding pens, I said. Yet, she said, eyes smiling. Yet. At 4:38 p.m., Victor leaned close. I need your help, he said. Some of the forms require designated family representatives. I'm not designated, I said. Evan. He made my name a plea and a reprimand at once. You're the reasonable one. Everyone trusts you. Be my anchor for 5 minutes, and then you can go back to grumbling about semantics. What forms? Nothing binding, he said. Just acknowledgments. Logistics. The kind of thing good families do. Lena appeared, cheeks pink, fingers twisting her sleeve. He says I'm supposed to sign as communications support, she whispered. It's just to help with the photo captions, right? My throat tightened. The mic squealed, the music cut, and Victor lifted his glass with executive relief. What's the cleanest way to stop a train that thinks it's a parade? I didn't wait for Victor's toast to turn into orders. While people clinked paper cups, I slipped to the AV table, plugged in the HDMI, and set my phone to record. One-party consent is legal here, Carter's voice repeating that felt like a seatbelt clicking. I waved the custodian over to witness if needed. She read my name tag and nodded. If it keeps the building calm, she said. I texted Lena. Side door, 2 minutes. Bring patience and open eyes. Lena came, eyes wide. Tell me I'm overreacting, she whispered. You're underreacting, I said. Watch his hands, not his words. I opened my laptop. The projector mirrored my desktop on the wall. I toggled to a clean slide. Family documents. For review. Beneath it, we sign nothing we don't understand. Victor drifted over, pure charm. Can we not, he said. This is a party. Then there won't be anything binding to sign tonight, I said. Right. He kept smiling, tighter. We're acknowledging contributions, that's all. Gratitude doesn't need a power of attorney, I said. I lifted the mic, before any special moment. We'll need clarity about paperwork. I've invited a neutral ear. I raised my phone. Carter's baritone came through. Good afternoon. I'm present to answer questions. A murmur ran the room. Victor tapped the mic. Family. Evan's enthusiasm is adorable, but let's not turn dinner into court. Housekeeping, I said. There are acknowledgement forms in the green room. For safety, we'll review any language line by line on the big screen, with plain definitions. I clicked to a slide. Consent means understanding. Who gives power? For what? For how long? Victor's jaw moved like chewing a dry bean. Trust the process, he said. Which process? I asked. The one that names you acting steward, or the one that needs my sister's initials on a transfer? Lena's head snapped. Transfer. Stay with me, I said, nodding at the projector input pulsing like a heartbeat. Victor followed me toward the curtain, smiling like a man rehearsed. Victor's slideshow opened with soft piano and dissolving baby pictures. I let a minute play and raised my hand. Pause, please. The operator froze the frame. My laptop took the projector. Title, Family Documents, for review. This, I said, is the acknowledgement form from the green room. The screen filled with the limited power of attorney. I read the key line. I authorize administrators to curate, edit, publish, and resolve disputes regarding stories and images. Next slide showed the checkbox for financial coordination. Plain English, I said. You give someone control of our stories and a right to bill later. Victor laughed lightly. Evan loves to dramatize stationery. Next, I said, opening will_codicil_draft_. Docs. The footer showed Victor's drive and a 2:13 a.m. timestamp. This moves Aunt May's house into a trust with the acting steward controlling public statements, I said. Aunt May, did you request this? I did not, she said, voice steady. Next, I said, and opened savings and transfer draft. Lena's initials floated in a signature block. Victor, she whispered. What is this? His smile cracked. Drafts, he said. Ideas. We refine. We protect the brand of this family. Families aren't brands, I said. They're consent. I zoomed into the document history. Edits at 4:52 a.m. and 9:01 a.m., both by V. Holtz. That's not an idea, I said. That's a plan on a timer. I lifted my phone to the mic. Counsel, define limited power of attorney in simple terms. Carter, it lets someone act for you in specific matters. If scope and time aren't crystal clear, do not sign. The room stirred. Fear and relief braided together. Victor tried to seize the frame. This is a smear, he snapped. He's hijacking my event. I'm letting the document speak, I replied. I advanced to version history. Side-by-side screenshots V3. 0, V3. 1, V4. 2. No one signs tonight, I said, until independent counsel reviews every line. Victor lunged for the power strip. The custodian beat him there and set her palm on the plug. We keep the lights, she said. A small applause found courage, then volume. Victor turned red, then pale, and stepped toward me, mouth tight and eyes wet. He raised the mic like a gavel and pointed straight at me. A sound like weather moved through the hall. Voices rising, chairs scraping, forks rattling. A second cousin shouted I was killing the vibe. An uncle said, let the boy speak. Victor gripped the mic. Enough, he said. Put the screens away. This is a celebration. He pointed toward the green room. 2 volunteers with gold wristbands started for the curtain. The custodian stepped left, folded her arms, and quietly became a wall. Aunt May raised her hand. If a document concerns my house, she said, I'll read it aloud, word by word. Her voice cut the noise like a steady saw. Lena stood beside her, shaking, then still. If I'm named on anything, she said into a spare mic, I'm not signing tonight. Victor's charm went cold. You're misunderstanding me on purpose, he said. The media project needs simple permissions. The codicil was a starting point. Do you know how press works? Press calls back, I said. Signatures don't. I switched to a blank slide. Pause. Review. Counsel. The venue manager appeared, radio crackling. I introduced Carter's voice and requested a 10-minute recess. She nodded. Security posted at the curtain with polite gravity. Victor recalibrated. Fine, he said. No signatures. We'll collect interest cards. He tried to turn away, then couldn't. You, he said to me, just cost us a donor. The fallout started before dessert. One aunt called me ungrateful. Another hugged me until my ribs clicked. A cousin posted a blurry shot captioned family drama. The slideshow resumed minus the legacy moment. We ate lukewarm pasta under lights that felt 10 degrees brighter. Monday, the bank manager returned my call. An after-hours notary had been requested for 5:30 p.m. Booked by Victor's office. When told the event was a reunion, their risk team canceled on-site notarization. I forwarded the memo, subject, emotional environments, to Lena and Aunt May. Carter sent next steps. Independent counsel for Aunt May, freeze any transfers, written notice to Victor. My price, a supervisor warning about distractions, and nights-only shifts for a month. I took them. Better honest dark than a lying chandelier. That night, Victor texted me a sentence that made my scalp prickle. You just declared war on family, and wars always collect debts. I saved Victor's text under a folder named Sunlight. Then I started a slower project, turning heat into boundaries. Aunt May and I sat with Carter in a small office that smelled like copier ink and peppermint tea. He explained life estate with salt shaker props. House stays in Aunt May's name, he said. Right to live there stays with her. If a trust ever helps, we draft it with her voice. Aunt May nodded once. I want my garden to outlive any nephew's slideshow. Lena arrived late, eyes red, laptop open. We reviewed the transfer draft with highlighters. This is how it happens, she whispered. It looks helpful. It borrows words like stewardship until you forget power tastes like sugar. Carter drafted a letter. No signatures without independent counsel. No meetings without at least 2 relatives present. All documents sent 3 days in advance. Recordings allowed by law. We called it the 2-key rule. No one person opens the vault on family decisions. At home, I made smaller changes. I put a notebook by my door labeled paper trails. I added a second charging cable to my bag, so I'm never choosing between a dying phone and a living record. I set reminders. Water, sleep, breathe. I booked a therapist. I'm tired of treating sirens better than I treat myself, I said. She asked for evidence. I brought seat charts and texts. We unpacked the guilt that knocks when you say no in a room that loves yes. Family chat quieted, then rebooted around toddler photos and recipes. Victor posted a statement, 3 paragraphs about miscommunication and our shared commitment to legacy. He invited suggestions for future stewardship structures. Aunt May replied, My stewardship structure is called a front porch. You may visit. The thread sprouted cautious laughter. Carter filed notice reserving Aunt May's right to record and to invite counsel to any discussion about property or stories. He also sent a memo. If we want an archive, we build one with consent forms in real English. Stories stay with tellers. Edits need permission. No money moves without plain invoices and a cooling-off week. Lena and I printed it and taped it inside a shoebox labeled Keep. The next message hit my phone before dawn, and I didn't open it. I thought a lot about words that week. Legacy, dignity, consent. Legacy without consent is branding. Dignity without consent is stagecraft. Consent without clarity is theater lighting. It flatters until it blinds you. The reunion didn't fix us, but it did one useful thing. It swapped our script. We replaced trust me with show me, be nice with be clear, hurry with hold on. Aunt May's front porch became headquarters. People stopped by with casseroles and questions. We answered both slowly. I made a checklist on a single page and stuck it to the refrigerator with a crooked magnet. 1. Photograph every document. 2. Read the footer, not just the title. 3. Check version history. 4. Ask who benefits. 5. Sleep on it. 6. Bring a witness. 7. If recording is legal, record. 8. If you don't understand, you don't consent. 9. If someone says just a formality, translate it to a decision. 10. Write your own story first. Lena and I met in Aunt May's living room and built a small archive. Shoebox for paper, shared folder for photos, names of lawyers who answer the phone. We helped 2 elders update wills in plain English. A cousin admitted he'd nearly signed the POA because the gold wristband made him feel chosen. We started bringing snacks to hard conversations. Blood sugar isn't a legal strategy, but it doesn't hurt. Victor disappeared from the chat, then resurfaced, less glossy, more careful. He sent Aunt May a note acknowledging the codicil was premature. He asked to visit her garden. She told him to bring gloves. I didn't go. It wasn't my apology to cure it. On shift, I met a woman who signed a car loan she didn't understand. We sat in the ambulance while her hands shook. I taught her my refrigerator list between vital checks. She folded it into her wallet like a photograph of herself she didn't want to lose again. I wish I could say reunions feel easy now. They don't. But we know the price of pretending easy. We learn to pause, to translate, to say no without apology. We learn the difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is chosen. Secrecy is demanded. We learn to stand in fluorescent light with paper in our hands and breathe. Next reunion, We'll bring pies and a brighter, louder, sharper light.